why did you decide to get involved in research?
I think it's a terribly important thing. Research is essential for all the drugs that are coming out, so I think everyone needs to play their part, and you know, I had the time and it wasn't much of a hassle to do, so I've always felt that research was a good idea.
And people can be a bit nervous about taking part in research. Were you nervous?
No, not really. Everyone was so welcoming and friendly. It was very much a family feeling in the clinic. They were first name terms. It was just chatting about all sorts of things, not just the research. And they were just so friendly and told me everything I needed to know beforehand. There was no pressure. It was very laid back. It wasn't threatening at all.
That's good to know. Some studies that you take part in might have a direct benefit to you. So you mentioned certain drugs there, so sometimes you may be taking some of those drugs, but other times there might be not a direct benefit to you. So it might be something that might help people further down the line, or it might be trialling something else that isn't to do with management that you'll have. We can find it really difficult sometimes to get people to want to be involved in those sorts of studies. But what would you say to those people thinking, well, actually, I might want to take part in those sorts of studies?
Do it, definitely do it. I took part in clinical trials for HIV research before I became HIV. So, I'm not doing clinical trials on HIV drugs because I'm HIV. I'm doing it because it needs research. So yes, if you just do it, everyone needs to take part in these things and help it along. The quicker people come forward and volunteer for these research projects, the better.
Yeah, because I think people don't realise that recruitment and getting people to participate in trials is one of the biggest hurdles we have to most research, so that's really good to hear. Were there any benefits to taking part in research outside of any treatment that you have been receiving as part of the trial?
Yes, because the research was being done within the clinic I attend, it was such a friendly environment. I know so many people within the clinic now. I've been going there for a couple of decades, and it's become, as I said before, a family feel. Everyone's on first name terms, and it just, they will go out of their way to help you because you've helped them.
Sure.
And yeah, it's a good feeling when you go in there. They're friendly.
Yeah, we're very lucky at the Royal Free. The clinics are very friendly. Some people have some sort of ideas as to what taking part in research will be, what the experience will be like. Did you have any sort of thoughts before you actually started as to what you might be expecting?
I thought it was going to be a lot more involved. I thought it would take more time than it actually does. It's surprising how little of your time it takes, and sometimes it was once every 4 weeks, sometimes it then stretched into once every 6 months. I've done a number of different trials and they all varied, but none of them were difficult to do by any stretch of the imagination. They were a few visits, a few forms, and job done.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing. People think that all studies are very intense, and there are studies which are, but sometimes it might just be as simple as filling out a questionnaire or a survey, or just talking to somebody in a room every so often, just to gauge.
And through the pandemic, it was over the phone.
Yeah.
So it was very simple to do. They kept in contact all the time as well. So they were constantly checking with me through email.
That's nice. Yeah. How did the experience compare to what you were expecting, other than the time? You were saying you thought that it wouldn't take. You thought it was going to be very time intensive, but it wasn't. Was there anything else that differed?
No, I mean, I found it very easy to do, and just my mindset is they're helping me, so I should be returning the favour. You know, if it's playing it forward, or is it paying it forward? One of the two. It's whichever one of those it is. And yeah, it's a no-brainer. I just felt that I should do it, and there wasn't anything untoward about it. It all went very smoothly and comfortably.
Are there any other misconceptions about taking part in research that you would like to just address here and make people feel a bit more comfortable about?
No, and it's the usual thing. Quite often with a clinical study, you take something and you don't know if you've got the placebo or the actual drug. And I did one study, and it was a year before I found out that I was on the placebo. But I was then going to go on to this new drug because the clinical trials had worked, and I was then going to start taking this new drug, which I'm on now and have been on for years now, and it's worked perfectly.
And your original access to that?
And
was
my
from
original
those
access, I was one of the first people to get it outside of the clinical trials when it was first released.
That's amazing. And just, is there anything else that you would like to comment on?
Do it. Go and do it.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.